drill. We're getting started with some flashcards. As always, these are sight reading flashcards, so be sure that you're preparing mentally by looking at the notes, fingering, rhythm, etc. before you go ahead and get started to try to play these. So we have number one, and you're going to do top one and bottom one. And these flashcards are, again, mostly focusing on thirds and skips. So here's number one. Go ahead and pause the video and try that one. Here's number two. Here is number three. And here is number four. All right, so remember, these flashcards are ideally for your first time through to try to sight read, trying to go through one time with no practice, making no mistakes. But once you get through it, you're welcome to use those as exercises to try doing some transposition if you want to do that. You can also try playing those in different tempos, seeing how that sounds. You can play it forte once, then piano. So you can use these as an opportunity to try out a few different things. You could even use these to improvise a little bit if you wanted to take one hand and then try to create a second part. These are for you to be creative, and anything that you think is beneficial to deepening your practice is always super exciting and super welcome. So for now, let's go ahead and get into our book. And we're going to be starting on page 52 with Eine kleine Nachtmusik, which is very, very famous piece by Mozart that you've probably heard many, many times before. And in this piece, we're going to be talking about our rest, our quarter rest, which is this little squiggly guy right here. And this is just how we notate silence. Really, it's mostly there as a placeholder to just show us, we need to write, if we're in 4/4, for example, we need to have 4 counts in each measure. So instead of just leaving a blank where we don't want notes to play, it makes sense to add the exact amount of rest that we want to have. But for our purposes, it's pretty much going to be fairly intuitive to what we've already been doing, where we play a note and if we stop playing, but it's just really indicating the exact value of how long we want to do that. So let's go ahead, and can you find what our starting hand position is? What do we have for our right hand and our left hand starting notes? Give you a second to think about it. So our right hand is starting on a C. Our left hand has finger 3 on G, which means that our left hand thumb is on B. So you've got this thumbs next to each other position with thumb on C, thumb on B. This piece features a lot of thirds or skips. So that also might be something that you want to go through and circle before you start working on this. So we'll go ahead and try this together, and I'm going to say the note names out loud when we practice this first time through. 1, 2, ready, go. C, G, C, G, C, G, C, E, G. Rest, F, D, F, D, F, D, B, D, G. Rest, C, C, rest, E, D, C, C, B, B, rest, D, F, B, D, C, C, rest, B, D, B, C, G, C, G, C, G, C, B, C. Excellent job. So go ahead and practice that through several more times until you feel comfortable at a nice steady tempo with that one. You can say counts, you can say finger numbers and note names. And then we'll go ahead and join back when you're ready for the teacher part. So you're going to be playing high on the keyboard for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, go. There we go. All right, so keep working. If you need to spend a little bit more time on that one to get it up to tempo, that is just fine. And then for a little bit of an extra challenge here, you're going to write in the blank at the bottom of page 53, writing out 2 measures of rhythm that include quarter rests. So you can play around and figure out what you think might sound cool. Rests are a great way to add a little bit of variety to our rhythms and create a little bit of a different sound. So you can play a rhythm that you like and then see how you would write that out using quarter rests. And then we're going to go ahead and turn over to New World Symphony Theme. This is based on a very famous piece by Dvorak, who is an absolutely amazing composer, and this piece is just so beautiful and so beloved by so many, and I know that you're going to really love getting to play it. So we are talking at the top of this page. We're learning 2 basic things here. So something that we've already been kind of doing is when we play one sort of simple repetitive part with our left hand, that is providing the harmony. It's the background to the music that sort of gives our melody a little bit of context. And the part that we play with our right hand, the part that we might sort of like sing or that might have the words if it was a song with lyrics, that part is the melody. So that's the main part that we are kind of thinking of. So very frequently we have a melody and harmony texture in piano music with our right hand playing the melody and our left hand playing the harmony. And in this case of this piece, we absolutely have that through the first page. And then if we notice on the second page, our left hand actually takes over the melody because our left hand is playing the only notes and the kind of the main part that we would think of. The other thing that we're going to learn in this one is the idea of da capo al fine. So we've seen repeat signs written out, which is a really easy way of not having to write out every single note that we want to play if something is repeated exactly. But what if we play something at the beginning and then we play something else and we want to play exactly what was at the beginning? Do we have to write it all over again? Not necessarily. We can use da capo. So at the very end, you see here we have DC al fine. Da capo is Italian for to the head or to the front. So when we say da capo, that tells us I'm going to go back to the beginning. And then al fine means to the end, or to the fine is what we have written in music. And so I can see here I have fine right here, which means I'm going to play the whole piece from beginning to end. Go through. I go to the end and it tells me da capo. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, back to the front, and I'm going to play until I get to the fine. So I play this page, then this page one more time. And it's a way easier way. Otherwise, we'd have to have a page turn, and it would be much longer than it would need to be. So that's a really easy way to write that down. So you might want to circle those markings for yourself. That way you're not having to kind of look around for where those are in your music. That could be a little bit of an easier approach. The other thing that I think would be very beneficial to mark are all of the ties that we have in our left hand, especially because we also have a lot of slurs. And as we've mentioned before, but the main difference, well, yes, the main difference, the only difference between slurs and ties is that a slur is where you're playing in a connected way over different notes. A slur is, or a tie is when you're playing the same note and you're just not lifting, you're not re-articulating it. So in the beginning here, you can see I have 4 measures of holding out that C and G together. So the way that I'm going to play that is 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. So I would go through and mark all of your ties. And it's, again, it's very easy to see because it's one note to the exact same note. You can't play one note to the exact same note and play it connected. So it couldn't be a slur. That wouldn't make sense. So it's a tie. And you also couldn't tie notes that weren't the same note. So I would go through and mark all of your slurs. Notice that in some places we have slurs under the ties, but don't let it confuse you because it's pretty easy to see when it's one note to the very same note, and it makes it even easier if you circle it. And here's how I like to do it. I circle all of the notes that are part of that tie, and then I write an X over them to show that I'm not going to re-strike this. I'm not going to lift my hand and play it again. I'm just going to keep holding here, here, and here. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to be in a C pentascale position with both hands back to that nice comfortable position instead of having thumbs so close to each other. And we're going to go ahead and try this one from the very beginning. And I'm going to count out loud as we practice this time through. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep holding the right hand. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Back to the first page. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep holding. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, long one when you play it in a nice slow tempo. So go ahead and practice that through several times using any practice strategies that you feel help you, and then we'll come back and do the teacher part together. So this one is not overly fast at any point, but we are going to do it at a kind of nice flowing tempo, that way it really moves. And you're going to be playing up high on the keyboard. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, very, very nice job working on that one. So go ahead and keep up the great work playing that one until you feel like you really can play that well with the duet. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at page 56. And we're going to be looking at playing a C chord and warming up with chords. So when we talk about chords, we're just talking about groups of 3 notes together. The actual technical term would be to call it a tertian triad, because we're building 3 notes and we're also using skips. So we have a skip on top and a skip on the bottom, but we just refer to it as chords. So if you'll go ahead and find the C pentascale position, that C 5-finger scale with your left hand, you're going to take the outside notes first, so the C and the G together, and then play the inner note. So let's go ahead and try this together. 1, 2, ready, go. Together, together, E. Together, together, E. Chord, hold. Chord, hold. Chord, 2, 3, repeat. Outer, outer, middle. Outer, outer, middle. Chord, 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 2, 3, 4. Excellent job! So, what I would like for you to do to continue your practice on this one is to try that exact same exercise with your right hand. So using a C pentascale position for your right hand and trying that exercise. And then try it on a G pentascale position. So that would mean right hand thumb on G, left hand pinky on G. Try that exact same exercise where you're using the outer notes, then the middle, and then forming the chord. So right hand and left hand on a G position as well, on an F position, and an A position. So G, F, and A, as well as the C for both hands on the chord warm-up. And notice the differences between how those might sound And that would be a great warm-up for you to start working with a few chords. Once you actually have learned those chords too, you're actually going to be able to make a few songs with those chords. So play through your C chords, G chords, F chords, and A chords. And bonus points if you can name a pop song that uses those 4 chords. There's actually a lot of them that use just that combination. So that'll be a great start and a great warm-up. And once you get done with that, we'll go ahead and look over at Jingle Bells. So our Jingle Bells is using that left hand pentascale position, and we have just the outer 2 notes, the fingers 1 and 5 at the beginning there, and then we also have a few C chords. So if you'll go through and circle where you have a C chord at the end of each line there. Also note that we have some pedal at the very beginning of those lines, and so you might want to circle that. And then the last 2 lines, you're going to bring your right hand up 1 octave. We have an octave sign right there, and so your right hand is going to go up 1 octave for those bottom 2 lines. So let's go ahead and try this through all together, and I'm going to say out loud the finger numbers for the right hand, okay? Another good policy, if you feel that you need a little bit of extra practice, would be to try this hand separately first. So try just your left hand alone, counting every measure, and then try just your right hand alone. So go ahead and do that first if you need to, and then we'll try it nice and slowly, hands together, saying the finger numbers of the right hand. 1, 2, ready, go. 3, 3, 3, hold. 3, 3, 3, hold. 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, left, left. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 5, rest, up. 3, 3, 3, hold. 3, 3, 3, hold. 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, left, left. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 3, 3, 5, 5, 4, 2, 1. Together. Excellent job. So go ahead and keep practicing that one a few times, saying your counting, finger numbers, note names, etc. You'll also notice that if you play this as written, it doesn't have quite the same rhythm as actual Jingle Bells. We're used to hearing, oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. You are more than welcome to use your ear to play with the melody that you're familiar with. This provides a simplified version because actually writing out those rhythms is pretty complex. So they're just writing it out, and you are more than welcome to adjust that rhythm a little bit to make it sort of reflect the way that you're used to hearing this song. Is Royal Procession on page 58. So at the top of the page, we are talking about our half rests and whole rests. So we learned about quarter rests, which kind of look like a little bit of a squiggly line. These 2 are just showing where we want to have 2 beats of silence or 4 beats of silence. I remember that a half rest looks like a hat because it goes on top of the line. Whole rest looks like a hole in the ground because it goes below the line. But you can also usually gain that from context. So remember those, and then let's go ahead and look at this little rhythm warm-up that we have right here. So in our piece, Royal Procession, we have a pattern where we have to play and hold our left hand while playing our right hand at a different rhythm. And that can be a little bit difficult to coordinate. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this rhythm warm-up, and we're going to tap. You can tap on your lap. You can tap on the wooden part of your piano. Doesn't matter. And we're going to count out loud and hold this and note the tie in the left hand. So 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest, 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 rest. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. So make sure that you're able to play each hand, tap each hand when it's supposed to, and go ahead and feel free to practice that a few times if you need a little bit of work on that coordination. It is surprisingly more difficult than it looks to be able to just keep one hand still while doing something with the other hand. So it's totally okay if you need to practice that a few times. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and take a look at Royal Procession. So we're going to be in a C pentascale for with both hands for the entire piece. I would go ahead and go through and circle some of your, circle the ties in your left hand. So where we have these left hand chords that are tied to each other and the sustained G's in the left hand on the second page, I would go through and circle both of those. Okay, so I'm going to circle into my little X. For all of the ties that are in the left hand, and that can just really help to remind you not to re-articulate that. If you also need to, you can go through and circle all of the half rests and whole rests. So that way you can see exactly where you want to make sure that your right hand isn't just holding on and playing for the whole measure, but that you want to make sure that you're actually resting where it chose to rest. So it may be helpful to also go through and circle all of the rests, if that would be helpful. So let's go ahead and give this a try from the very beginning. As usual, this piece calls for pedal, but we're going to go ahead and practice it without for the first time through. And I'm going to count the beats out loud. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent job. So go ahead and keep practicing this one using some of the practice techniques that we've done before, counting, saying finger numbers, saying note names, and then also see if you can get this one up tempo a little bit. And see if you can identify the form of this piece. So our ABA, notice where lines are the same, where are they different, where are they almost the same, and that will be great. So let's go ahead, and once you are finished with that, we'll go ahead and take a look at the next page. And we're going to be looking at study in broken thirds. And this exercise here can also be called study in broken chords, because we're doing that where we're playing those 3 notes up and down instead of playing them all at the same time. We're just playing. So let's go ahead and take a look at study in broken thirds at the top. So our pattern for this one is always going to be the finger numbers 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, rest, 2. And then we're going to jump up so that now if I started on C, now I'm jumping up and my thumb is starting on D. And I keep doing the same thing. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, jump up. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, jump to F. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, jump to G. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, 2, jump, etc. So you'll do that starting from middle C, jumping up each white key until you get to the next C. So you're going to go all the way up. And if you want a little bit of a challenge, you can reverse it when you go down. So go 5, 3, 1, 3, 5, jump. 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 So that would also be a great way to practice this one if you wanted to. And then you're going to do the exact same exercise with your left hand, starting 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, jump. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, jump. 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, jump, and so on and so forth. So go ahead and pause the video and make sure that you practice that, going all the way up and then coming down, and with the left hand going down and then coming back up on each subsequent white key. And when you are done with that, we'll come back and look at our rhythm study. So for looking at our rhythm study down here, we're going to go ahead and do what we always do and circle our ties, because the tie is going to be a really important factor in how this rhythm sounds. So we're just going back and forth here in the beginning between our fingers 1 and 3. So starting on C with our right hand. 1, 3, 1, 3, hold, 2, 1. Now one more time. 1, 3, 1, 3, hold, 2, 1, jump. 1, 3, 1, 3, hold, 2, 1, jump. 1, 3, 1, 3, hold, 2, 1, jump. 1, 3, 1, 3, hold, 2, 1, and so on. And then the same thing with the left hand. 1, 3, 1, 3, hold, 2, 1, jump. 1, 3, 1, 3, hold, 2, 1, jump. 1, 3, 1, 3, hold, 2, 1, jump. And you're going to go with your right hand on that one all the way up, and then you can bring it back down if you want. And the left hand, you're going to go all the way down and then come back up. So make sure that you work through all of those exercises. Give those each a try. And those are also great ones to use in your practice as warm-up activities.
So here is our 5-finger patterns for this week. We're doing F sharp major and to F major. So the top one and the bottom one on page 177. So these two are opposites of each other. F sharp major is black, 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 white, black. F major is white, 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 black, white. So that's how we kind of paired those together, because it actually makes this pretty easy to play because they are so similar, and they actually have a very, they complement each other really well because they're inverse like that. So again, feel free to take a look at that pattern of half steps and whole steps, kind of pluck out the notes, thinking about your patterns of black keys and white keys, and try hands separately. And then here we go with both hands, playing F sharp major, and I'll say the letter names and the finger numbers, and then all by itself for each one. Ready, go! F sharp, G sharp, A sharp, B, C sharp, B, A sharp, G sharp, F sharp, A sharp, C sharp, A sharp, F sharp, and all together. Finger numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1, and all together, all alone. hand thumb on F, left hand pinky on F. Ready, go. F, G, A, B flat, C, B flat, A, G, F, A, C, A, F. And all together, finger numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 5, 3, 1. And blocked chord. Beautiful job. So that is it for your 5-finger patterns for this week.